they're about to have sex and the guy like whips out a condom. And I'm like,
Welcome to Toast and Jams, the podcast show where we like to cheers to creativity and chat to the rhythm of a song from our formative years. And today I'm very pleased to finally welcome Akinola Davies Jr, filmmaker.
yes.
Amongst other things.
Yes.
Welcome.
Cheers, man.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Glad we could get this done.
Yeah, it's been
man.
a couple of to and fro's to get you in the room.
Mostly my fault, I accept.
That's okay. You know, I've kind of come to learn that a lot of the time, the most valuable episodes are the hardest ones to get done.
Wicked. We'll make this a good one.
So there you go. How's it all going?
It's good, man.
Yeah.
Super grateful, super happy. Things are going well. I got nothing to complain about.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hard year, but I think within that, things are still going well.
Wow, the same goes for like hard years, right? Is the reward comes from that, right?
Yeah.
So let's begin with, we like the guests to choose the drink.
Sure.
We're going to cheers with.
Yeah.
And you chose, as my friend Lauryn would say, government juice, but water.
Yes.
How come and why?
Good question. Just for so many reasons. I think I stopped drinking in 2019.
Yeah.
And then I've been quite insistent on drinking sparkling water.
Yeah.
Because that's just apparently what happens.
Well, you can't beat it.
You can't beat it. Also, I just like the idea of just trying to put healthier things, he says, with sparkling water in my body, basically.
Yeah.
Because I think, there's just a lot to say for in more of my creative formative years, thinking that like my inspiration came from other places as opposed to just being actually the catalyst for all those things.
For sure. Yeah. Exactly. I agree with that. We can get, I think when we're young or growing up in our generation, it's so easy to get lost in the kind of, in the romanticized like 60s, 70s, smoke a joint, write a tune or, you know, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And actually, to agree with you, coming to the conclusion in my 20s that weed just stopped me from actually being creative. Is that what you found with like everything else?
I'm one of those people who's like, if I enjoy something, I overindulge.
Yes.
So I started smoking weed really young when I was like 13, 14.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's interesting now when I see people who start smoking weed a lot later and they can function. Whereas like, because I started smoking it really young, I just couldn't function.
Do you think there's a correlation in that? Yeah.
I think probably because your mind's probably a lot more developed. And I think if you start doing things a bit too early, your mind isn't fully formed. So as human beings, we're like going through like constant stages of like emotional evolution. And actually, if you become quite dependent on a substance when you're younger, it can inhibit that or somewhat influence the way you think of that emotional evolution.
Yeah, it's true.
And I think for me, being quite a sensitive person is a thing that has taken me a long time to get to grips with. And I think drink, alcohol, whatever other extracurricular things probably, just like help me mask a lot of that sensitivity, I would probably say. But now I'm kind of like all for it.
What were some of the most kind of immediate positive changes after you stopped drinking? In 2019.
That's a techie one. To be honest, I would say,
or even actually not even immediate. Let's say just since 2019.
Yeah, I would say the first one is just like consistency. Like I don't have mood swings. I definitely still get angry. I sometimes get sad or whatever, but I find that like I don't have the extremes as they were before.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't be like, let's say I'd had like a rager on the weekend. Doing all sorts, going raving or whatever, I knew that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe even Friday, I'd be quite down.
Yep.
But like now I could go have a rager and I'll just be fine. Or just like emotionally, I'm just I'm just a lot more consistent.
It's a beautiful thing.
I think a tricky one, which is the one I was actually thinking of more techie, is like your friendship group really changes.
For sure.
Like I love all my friends at different times of my life, but I also think that when the watering hole that isn't water changes, then things kind of fall by the wayside a little bit. You kind of have to reassess a few things for the better or for the worse. But I think that's another thing that becomes quite that you notice quite quickly, basically.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And you know what? It can be quite telling. It shines a light on friendships too, because on the strength of them. Because, you know, if they're here for you, if they want to see you and they don't want to drink, then they will.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't happen, then it's like, okay, cool, love you, bye.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 100%. It takes a little while to get used to it, because you're like, oh, what? Like, we were so tight. Like, now we don't want to see each other.
Yes.
But you also realize, like, everything ebb and flows. Like, you come into people's lives at a time where you both need each other, and then you exit each other's lives. And maybe in a few years down the line, you might like reconnect or you might not. But ultimately, like, the time you share with people is exactly what it's supposed to be. And I just ended up being quite content with that.
Agreed. Well, then let's cheers to that.
Cheers.
Cheers to water.
Yeah, man.
And to old friends and new friends.
Purifies the soul, they say.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
You know, I read the email, and I've got to admit, I read X Factor as in from the show.
Yeah.
And I was
That's the one where I was like,
I was like, this doesn't sound like him, really. And I was like, not any tune from X Factor. That can't be right. Like, try harder.
Yeah.
But the tune is X Factor by Lauryn Hill, obviously.
Correct. Yes.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Why did you choose that tune?
Oh, man. I think Lauryn Hill represents so many things for me.
Yeah.
I think there's like two artists who represent everything, which is predominantly like D'Angelo and Lauryn Hill.
Okay, yeah. Strong, very strong choices.
Yeah, because I just think, just everything always centered back towards like that album and like Voodoo by D'Angelo in terms of like my formative years. But I would say Lauryn Hill, just because I just think I feel like I learned a lot about, I guess, you know, like quote unquote love or whatever from that album, and like self-acceptance from that album and stuff like that. And I think X Factor is just one of those songs, just like a really bittersweet love song, basically. And just, everything about the person singing it really has been something that I've, just looked up to for most of my adult life.
No, it's a great choice. I mean, you know, when I think we're of similar age, but when that album came out, I wasn't actually concentrating on the lyrical content as much as I probably would now. But it was at the time I was just blown away that a woman of this kind of like power and confidence was singing as well as she was singing, and rapping as well as she was rapping.
For sure.
Which just wasn't happening at that time.
Yeah.
And then like after, you know, down the line, it's like the power of the lyrical content is just up there. And, you know, people always say like, she's only done one good album. It's like, but when your album is like that.
Yeah, you never need to do it. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So why do you need to do something else?
100%. It's like you're 1 for 1 at that point.
Yeah.
I guess I really like her Unplugged. It got a lot of like,
no, it
didn't get a lot of love initially, but I think when people revisit it, they see that it's such a powerful, like raw, because I think what people were really used to in terms of music, maybe you can even attest to it, is that like when you hear a produced album in a studio, when you go to a gig, everybody just wants to hear that same album. Like they don't, it's, even though they should
majority
be
would, I would agree with majority. Yeah.
Even though they should be hearing like a version of it, which is like not as flawless as what it would be produced in a studio.
Yeah.
And I think the Unplugged is just raw, basically.
Yeah, and Lauryn Hill's really good at like her live performances are really, you really feel it.
Yeah.
Like you really, really do. They're really emotive. Did you know that I think she was in the same choir as Whitney Houston? Did you know that?
I did not know that, no.
Yeah, they were pals. And there's a really nice scene when Lauryn Hill is getting an award. I'm assuming it's a Grammy. I can't remember off the top of my head. But Whitney Houston announces it. And she's you can see how elated Whitney Houston is that she's won.
Wow.
She's like, woo! Yeah. And Lauryn comes up to get the award. It's a really nice moment knowing that they were in the same choir together. It's cool. I
love the one where Lauryn Hill's in Sister Act.
Yes. Yeah. In case people didn't know, check that one out because she's young in that one, isn't
she? Super, yeah.
Yeah. So what's happening for you at that time in your life?
Ooh, for around the time listening to X Factor.
Exactly.
I want to say I was like, I want to say maybe I was.
Where were you? Number one?
I would have been in, well, the time I remember most prominently with that album is I probably would have been in Kent.
Yeah.
I went to school in Kent, and I was in boarding school, and I probably would have been maybe doing my GCSEs or A levels.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just remember like,
is it 96? Are we kind of talking around that? No,
maybe
a bit later.
Yeah. I just remember like, I'm the type of person, if I like a song, I just have it on repeat.
Especially at that age.
Yeah, especially at that age. Like, I just want to learn every groove and everything about the song. So I probably think that's probably where I was. Like, and instead of doing my homework or whatever, I was probably like listening to that album. Like,
yeah. Was music? What was your experience at boarding school like? Actually, I want to talk to you about that because there's not many people our age that I know anyway that actually went to boarding school.
It was great.
Yeah,
like,
good.
Because I mean, obviously I've heard like a lot of horror stories from people.
Yeah.
But I I was born here, but I grew up in Nigeria. My parents, my late father and still alive mum, my father went to boarding school. My grandfather went to boarding school.
Okay.
It was something, all my brothers and my sister went to boarding school. So
a rite of passage.
Yeah, it was something that I was expecting. Yeah. But because my father passed and my mum was taking care of us, me and my brother, we went like later than our earlier siblings or whatever.
Do you think the expectation helped with the whole process, just knowing it's coming kind of thing?
Yeah, probably. Like,
because I think a lot of the time with boarding school, the problem is that kids are like, what? And then, it's like a ripping away.
No, I was like,
you're like, let's go.
Yeah, I was like, when do I get to go?
Yeah, okay,
because also like boarding school was
the whole thing.
It was here
it's reframed it, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was in the UK, not in Nigeria.
Okay.
One of my brothers went to boarding school in Nigeria, and that was rough. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
He had like a real
What's the age gap between you and that brother?
Just 2 years, 2.5 years. But like he really went through the wars. So I was like, I don't want to go to boarding school there. No. So I went to boarding school. Yeah, in Kent. It was great, man. It was like, I mean, I guess now there's a lot of things that I could probably look back and pick flaws in it. But back then I wasn't so concerned with a lot of those things. I mean, I was like one of a few black kids there.
Yeah.
But I had the thing of I was quite popular because I played sport. I'd never really played organized sport before up until then.
What sports were you playing?
I threw myself into everything. I played rugby, I played basketball, tried at cricket, didn't really understand what the whole fuss was.
Yeah, I'm the same with that, unfortunately.
Did track, played hockey. I was like a goalkeeper in hockey. Never really got around to the whole swimming thing because my teacher, my PE teacher was also like the rugby coach.
Yeah.
And because I was so good at loads of sports, he like allowed me not to bother with my St. Andrew's cross or whatever it is they do, like kind of swimming or whatever. I remember I used to just like lounge on the side where everybody was in their pajamas trying to float.
Yeah.
And I was like, have fun, guys. But I played everything, man. I loved being in a team. Like team, I think I realized a lot later that not to say I was like excellent at any sport, but I think the team thing was like quite a big thing for me.
Is that a thread that you would say is still running quite strongly through your life up to now?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm definitely a team player. I think a good team is just like people who know their strengths and weaknesses and can like allow other people who have those strengths to shine and take turns and all that kind of stuff.
Much like a set.
Yeah, exactly.
Much like a set.
Exactly.
So what kind of role did music play in your boarding school experience? Did you have like personal headset kind of vibes, or did you have a stereo that you could?
Mate, this is going way back. I don't think I could afford like a Discman at that time. I remember my mum, she drops me off at boarding school, and I had like one of those speakers that you like put a CD in.
Yeah.
And that's what I played music on. I bought 2 singles. It was back in the days where we used to sell singles. It was a Dr. Dolittle, Aaliyah single, and the other one was like Monica.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was Aaliyah and Monica. So the first 2 singles I ever bought. And I just like rinsed those. I probably know every word to those songs still. But music was a big part. Also, I used to listen to what my elder brother used to listen to, which is a lot of R&B and like early hip hop. And then I idolized my brother, who's like 2 years above me. So I used to listen to everything he used to listen to. And then before my brothers were an influence, I used to listen to what my mum used to listen to, which is a lot of gospel and Elvis Presley. My first tape was like Elvis' greatest hits basically.
I'm interested to know, are you still into Elvis in any way, shape or form?
Yeah, yes, 100%.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
100%.
I was, same for me, it was like the first obsession was Elvis. And then now I'm kind of like, no, absolutely. Like,
do you know what? It's like, I haven't thought of it that deeply, but I think I just, because I'm quite a sentimental person, I look back at it with so much fondness because I think maybe like, maybe now or at points in my life, I would have probably thought it's not cool. But I think actually the fact that I liked Elvis is quite a surprise to loads of people in some instances. And I think that's quite cool.
Yeah,
in a
for
way.
sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
What was your earlier?
What was my earlier?
After Elvis, what else were you listening to?
Oh, Michael Jackson. That's like, it's just...
Same, actually.
Simple, man.
Same.
Like, and then that was it. There was no looking back.
Yeah.
And still the same with Michael Jackson.
Sick.
Yeah, wanted to be him, you know.
Did you learn the dances?
To dress like him. I tried.
Yeah.
I made my mum make me kind of like this really bad, like sequin glove.
Nice.
You know.
Oh, sequin gloves. Not even just the white tips.
Just the one.
Okay,
Yeah. Cute. You know, everything. But I was never a Beatles guy. MJ was really it, actually. Was really it.
Yeah,
it's
same.
like Elvis and then MJ and then
My mum called me on the day he died and she was like, I just wanted to call because I know how much he meant to you. And I was like,
I think it shook. It's, you know.
Yeah.
You remember where you were when he
100%. I was at a house party somewhere in Brighton.
Okay.
With like a group of friends, and then we were all going to this field to get wasted.
Yeah.
And in between the house party and the field, like people.
Was this in the AM?
This was like nighttime.
Okay, right.
So like I remember almost exactly, we were listening to, it was like one of the first times I ever heard Fleetwood Mac.
Oh yeah.
And we were in this house and they were playing this stuff.
Do you remember what tune it was?
It was probably like Dreams or The Chain, I think.
Yeah.
It's probably one of those, and like just being like, who, what? Like,
big tunes,
do you know what I mean?
Man, big tunes.
And then I think we were all getting on it. And then
probably
someone was like, oh, Michael Jackson died.
Yeah. Oof.
And then we were like, we didn't really have, I don't know if we had smartphones then, but somehow we checked and found out like it was true.
Yeah.
And then I remember my mum calling me. Yeah, we probably did have smartphones.
I think it was just. Yeah.
And then she called me, so I found like a quiet place, and then we ended up going to this field and just like doing loads of drugs and partying. Yeah.
R.I.P. MJ.
Yeah, man.
Man, I think it shook the world. It's like a whole generation that, you know, I don't think we're going to see that kind of influence again. Yeah. Just because of the way we ingest media now. It's just completely different, right?
Yeah.
It's not so
I think we will at some point.
Yeah, you think so?
Well, maybe not like that type, but I think everything's cyclical.
Yeah.
So I think like performing is going to become like very cool again. Just in the way I think like bands are becoming really cool again in a different iteration. So maybe at some point it was like indie bands. Yeah. But I feel like now it's a lot of like contemporary jazz is like live bands becoming like a huge thing again.
Which is great.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm so here for the jazz revival.
Yeah,
like,
same.
It's really good. It's
same.
Like, my little brother said something. He was like, I'm annoyed that it's so popular because I wanted to bring it back myself. I was like, all right, bro. Yeah. He's 21, so he's allowed.
Yeah, he's still got time.
He's still got time, yeah. How did your kind of creative juices start flowing, or any kind of like practices? What did you do at A-level, for example?
So GCSE was the first iteration with anything creative. Yeah. I did art.
And was it on a visual basis?
Yeah, visual basis. Yeah. So it's really funny. It's like, it's a real cyclical moment because we were speaking about Somerset House recently. Yeah. And Chris Ofili participated in the Somerset House show.
For people listening, because we were talking about this off camera.
Yes.
What happened, just quickly, what happened at Somerset House?
So I did how would I define it? Just to surmise it. I screened a series of documentary films I'd made in the courtyard at Somerset House with a live audience and a live score playing alongside the films in the courtyard to about like 2,500 people. And Chris Ofili allowed us to fly his flag above Somerset House for the whole duration of a summer series.
Yeah, wow.
So the first contact I ever had with, maybe not ever, but memory serves me right, that I ever had with like what it meant to be like an artist or a painter was Chris Ofili's work.
Okay.
Because I just remember him being the elephant dung guy who like painted these big murals of black characters, and he had like elephant dung for like the boob or like to hold the structure.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was kind of like a full circle moment because of him I did A-level GCSE. I got an A in my GCSE. Thank you very much. And then for my A-level I just fell off a cliff.
Oh.
Yeah, because I was
You were riding high.
I was riding high, but there was just too many hot girls in the A-level class.
Okay, fair enough.
So I
think you're allowed that.
Yeah, I just couldn't concentrate. I just like would literally go to every class and just try and chat to the girls, basically. And then I probably didn't even get a grade. That's how much of a cliff
that's how hard you fell.
Yeah, that's how much of a cliff I fell off. But the other things I did, this is why I laugh. I think I did like PE, A-level. I don't know if I even got a good grade. I did history, which I got an A.
Yeah.
Because my history teachers were incredible. And then I don't know how many subjects are you supposed to do.
I did like 3 A-levels. Yeah, but so art was GCSEs.
Art was GCSE
when you really
and
started enjoying it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
But then you didn't pay so much attention.
Yeah, because that, and I didn't really like my teacher at A-level.
Oh, that counts for a lot, I think.
Yeah.
I think we can't underestimate how much that influences it.
100%. My teacher, Mr. White at GCSE, I'll never forget him.
Respect to Mr. White.
I just loved that guy. And then my teacher, who was my teacher for A-level, I can't remember his name, but he just didn't necessarily inspire me, basically.
Well, this is it, right? And if you had I hate to kind of gun the teacher, but if you had been better, maybe you would have been so distracted by the ladies.
Yeah, true. But I think that's with everything. I think we take a lot of granted the people who like nurture us in different spaces. And I really do think like your first contact with anyone, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a psychologist, like that first contact really informs how people like respond to like people in those practices.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think like, it goes a long way if those first experiences make people feel quite validated. Because I know for me, like I loved art with Mr. White. I was like, I love it. I turn up to every class. I'd like do the work. I like knew Chris Ofili was. Was learning how to conceptualize stuff. But with the next teacher, it was just like not a vibe. And I was like, I'm not good at this. You know, I go from an A student to someone believing like, I'm just not good at this, basically.
But at least your first experience was positive, right?
100%.
Yeah. Because that meant, were you able to kind of pick it up again after A-levels?
No, man. I think I'd sort of given up. Well, that's not true. So let's leaving school. Yeah. Moving into kind of like, jobs, I guess, and a kind of professional world, looking towards the professional world. Sure.
What was your creative journey look like?
A lot of trial and error.
And we can include, I love including, don't leave out the side jobs.
Yeah,
because it's
100%.
important for people to know.
So I was going to say, I started doing music at school.
Yeah, cool.
There was me and this other like mixed race kid who's actually like quite a big music producer now, actually. I think his name's Star One, him and his brother. A duo. Yeah. His name is Joe Wilson. And I used to go to Joe's house at lunchtime and we would make these like rap mixtapes. We were like the two only black kids in our school, effectively. Yeah. And then we would just like rap. And I would always like steal lyrics that I heard from somewhere else. But I think he was probably writing his own raps.
You got to, yeah.
Right? And we would just make these tapes and like, I can't remember if we would play them for people at school, but that was like an iteration. And then when I left sixth form, my brother, who's big in music now, I would just be in the studio with him when he's making music, and I would like roll everyone's spliffs or whatever and just hang around and play like Pro Evo or FIFA or whatever it was. And then eventually like I'd just be like humming, and then he like got me to sing on stuff. So I think creatively like sort of lifeline was from my brother. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll be a singer in Brighton because I went to uni, but it never quite worked out. But
what did you study at uni?
I did English language and media studies.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be an investigative journalist.
But it seems like in hindsight now, that's a big part of the puzzle, right?
Just curiosity,
doing.
Wanting to know more about like the human experience. But yeah, so what did I do on the side? I started throwing parties.
Yeah, okay.
I started throwing parties. In Brighton. I
Great
live
place
with
to do it.
Jackson Payne, you know Jackson?
I do very well.
Yeah, El Peños. Like I lived with him and a couple of other people. But yeah, me, Jackson, we started throwing parties.
Yeah, wicked.
We maybe did like 2 in Brighton. I can't remember what they were called. Probably like some really dumb name, like Sweet Odin's Raven or something like that. And so that was kind of like a creative outlet. And also through the parties, I became friends with all the art school kids. I remember going to to Grand Parade and then seeing like a little DVD of this girl. The name will come back to me. And I remember watching it and like they made these films and I was like, wow, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh yeah, maybe like film. Because I did film as an elective at uni.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, oh, maybe I'll do this. But then I like just shelved it for a while.
Yeah.
Ended up working in loads of pubs and clubs, which was, added something basically. Yeah. And then fortuitously, there was a platform called Bebo. Do you remember?
I remember Bebo. It was like, was it before MySpace? Or was it at the same time?
Yeah, around the same time. There was like High Five and Bebo.
It was a one-page like profile thing with graphics.
100%.
That you filled out.
Yeah.
And like, this is me.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember Bebo, yeah.
And Bebo was quite ahead of their time because they were doing a series on Bebo. I can't remember what it was called, but my friend from Kent, she was the lead in it, and I knew that wasn't her real name. I don't remember
this at all.
Yeah, it was very niche. I'm like such an internet kid, but like, it was basically like you create a profile, and then this person starts uploading videos, so it makes it feel like they're the ones uploading videos.
Yeah.
But I knew that wasn't who she really was.
Right.
But it was a series, and it would just get crazier and crazier and crazier. So I said to my friends at the time, my best friend, who's late now, R.I.P. Mike Coffey.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, we should just write our own series. Like we live in Brighton, like our lives are pretty interesting. At least I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, so I just started writing on paper, like just like a series outline.
Yeah.
And then we graduated and everyone left. And I was just like,
but that was the start of.
Yeah, I was just like, like
penning ideas.
Yeah, we should start like a production company, like all this type of stuff. And then everyone left, so I just was like, okay, cool. I'll just keep working in bars, smoking weed, and hanging out with art school kids.
Okay. How long did you stay in Brighton for? When did you move to London?
I moved to London
in next?
2010.
Yeah.
Not quite. Basically, so another friend of mine, his name's Alex McAdam, who I ended up living with, he worked for an ad agency. So one week, he's like, I can't do my job.
Yeah.
Do you want to come and... I'm an office runner. Do you want to come and just like do the job for a week? You get paid cash, 75 quid a day. Yeah. I was like, what?
At that
man.
Time, that's great.
Like, let's go.
Yeah.
So I went, I did that week and it was great. It was good money. And then maybe like a month or so later, he left the job and I was like, there's an opening.
Oh, cool.
So I like went and I would commute every day.
Yeah.
Well, not quite.
Up from Brighton, yeah.
Yeah, I would maybe commute on a Monday, come back on a Friday and just stay with like some friends in like Dalston, behind the Haggerston back then. Yeah. And yeah, I guess that ad job, that series of events kind of really sort of like piqued my interest into like working in London and being a creative, because from then when I started doing commuting is when I probably met you at the Russian Club. And
I was going to say, because when you said 2010 is when you moved to London, I was going to say I definitely would have met you before 2010, for sure. It was like mid-noughties, I imagine.
Yeah, probably through Jackson, because I used to hang out with Jackson a lot. So like,
or maybe even in Brighton too, because I had so many friends that went to Brighton Uni.
Yeah.
I was always visiting.
Anna Lomax.
Yes.
I can't believe I couldn't remember. And
good.
She's quite a big influence.
Yeah,
I love Anna Lomax. I say it to her all the time. I found that DVD. It was her and Lauryn, actually, because they were a duo. Lauryn Davies.
Yeah, Lauryn Davies.
Yeah, they were a duo and they made these really like funny videos at the race course.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I always say to Anna, I was like, I feel like that video like really did something, unleashed something in me, because I was like, wow, I can see someone who I know doing it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of odd and weird. So like, I hope to try and do some weird, odd stuff at some point, basically.
No,
but
cool.
Yeah.
No, pick up Anna Lomax.
Yeah, man. Legend.
I just saw her, not at Carnival, but at Panorama on Saturday. I don't want to try not to date the episodes, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, pick up Anna. We're trying to get her on still. She will be on the show at some point.
That'd be a great episode, man.
Yeah, she's done some amazing work. So I can see how easily, she could be a good influence visually.
Totally.
So I want to kind of talk about themes of identity and legacy.
Sure.
Some heavy things, but
big, just a small talking points.
Yeah. Your work often deals with like memory, ancestry, and identity.
Yeah.
Where do those themes come from for you personally, would you say?
I would say just like so many areas. Like I think as someone who lost their father quite early, I've always been obsessed with like what it means to be a man, because I don't have any. I didn't necessarily have like a blueprint of like, I had my brothers, and I always used to collect like father figures, whether in GCSE or the
Did
A
you
level.
find brothers and friends filling the gaps?
Yeah, always. My best friends were not always, but
not filling the gaps, but you were
100%
placing them.
100%. I'd always like befriend, like, because also I used to hang out with my brother and his friends, so I was quite used to hanging out with like older people.
Yeah.
So I would always like find someone who had very similar interests, and then we would hang out. I'd be like their little buddy, like hanging around or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess, when I got into more creative space, I guess it was always trying to like interrogate. I don't know what it means to be a man. Like I'm figuring out all by myself, and mostly like a lot of my influences come from women, whether it's my mom, whether it's my aunt, whether it's my sister. They've always had a hugely beneficial input into like the way I sort of see things, and just being a lot more introspective. So I guess that idea of identity came from there. And then you're living in London, and there's like, you're around like people who are a lot more like politically minded, who are a lot more conscious, talking about like feminism and stuff like that. So you start to like wonder, okay, like how do Black people fit into this conversation? How do you make space for people in your community who are marginalized? And I think in 2010, around that time, a lot of my friends were from the queer community. So I'd be like, okay, cool. Like if I don't necessarily feel represented, like how do they feel represented? Like all that, just like all these kind of questions. It's really just being someone, I guess, wanting to be a journalist. Is like asking those questions and being like, okay, cool. Maybe I have like a certain level of privilege. So how can I use that to serve people I really care about?
That's a really great place to start from.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
And not that I even realized it at the time. I think ultimately, like, I just thought, oh, like, who's asking these questions, Like, I remember I came up with this idea long time ago. It was like of a series called Young, Black and Gay in the UK, because I wanted to interview my friends, because at the time I was like, being gay within the Black community was such a taboo subject, but I had loads of friends who were gay. So I was like, well, how do you survive? Like all that kind of stuff. And I remember telling my sister, and she was like, yeah, that's a great idea. You should definitely make it. I never made it in the end, but
you still could.
Yeah, I still could for sure. It was just like already thinking in that way, like how do I explore things that could become potentially like interesting documentaries, or just things that serve people, basically.
And I think especially in a creative world, if you are starting off on a basis of kind of just honest questions and honest service, you can't really go wrong, whatever the result might be.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always going to be good in some way.
Yeah, 100%. But also that's also a consequence of feeling very like counterculture-y.
Yes,
Because I even like coming back to working at the ad agency or whatever, it's like I met a guy called Ben Murray, I think his name was, and he worked at Partisan when I was working at Brothers and Sisters, which was the ad agency, and it was in Soho, and it was a super fun time. But Ben Murray is the guy who was one of the original creators of People Just Do Nothing, because it was just on YouTube before it went on BBC.
Yeah.
And I remember him, Lauren Hedges, Nick Bam, like all these people in the kind of like runner's room at Partisan.
I remember Nick.
Yeah. And like, yeah, and I just remember being like, oh my God, these guys are so cool. They're so far ahead, like doing all this stuff. Rah, 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 rah. And I just like buy fruit and tea for my office, basically. But they're actually like making the thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think I never felt like, because I never got a job in like a conventional production company.
No.
So I was like, okay, cool. I need to maybe working this ad agency is my route to London. And eventually it was. So
yeah.
And all my friends again, Jackson.
But the example, you're literally witnessing people do the thing, and so at that point, that's the example you're being shown. Is that actually you could do it if you want to.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing it.
100%. But even Jackson, not to blow up his spot, but like he knew loads of graph writers.
Yeah.
And they just did the thing.
Yeah.
You know, like,
that's the one thing graphers do.
Yeah, that's all they do. Like they're so like I couldn't really get it other than knowing that to them it's a bit like it feels like an addiction. Especially you be hanging out with graph writers and
it's a complicated
they
relationship.
Just tag everything. It's like being a dog. You know how like dogs just love to pee on stuff to mark their scent. That's literally what graph writing is.
It's true.
Like,
it's a good comparison.
They just have to like tag it. Like it's such a territorial thing. I mean, I'm not a graffiti artist, so I don't know if that's how they would articulate it. But
I think it's even I think it's evolved from territorial now.
Yeah.
Like it's just a numbers game.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
Who is the most up?
I mean,
anywhere.
Yeah, 10 foot, man. It used to be tops, and now it's 10 foot.
Man. I was talking about this the other day. Like, I can't remember like someone as up as him in the history of my knowledge of graph.
The only person I knew of was Tox because when I was before boarding school, I used to stay with guardians, and my uncle lived in Neasden, so it would be the Jubilee line.
Yeah.
So I'd ride the Jubilee line, and after a while, the Jubilee line is outside. Right, it's not underground anymore. It goes outside, St. John's Wood, all them ends, and I would get off in Neasden, and that whole line outside was Tox 09, Tox 08, Tox 07, Tox 05, and I was just
and the
like
repetition.
Yeah, I was like initially I thought it was London Underground writing it, and then I was like, no, that's
very innocent.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then I was like, oh no, this guy is like prolific. But yeah, I met 10 foot. And he's quite character.
Indeed.
So I can see how like just consistent. I kind of really respect it.
For sure.
I just think it's so to be that all city is crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Like international. So going back to your work.
Yeah.
Do you think your work is contributing to a kind of cultural archive, or do you see it as more personal than that?
Just the easy ones, Alex. Do you know what? I don't know. I think I'd like to think yes, because I think in more recent years I started seeing my work more as a filmmaker, but also
it's something that's coming after.
Yeah, but it's in what do people say in hindsight? In retrospect, I think a lot of my work is probably quite archival. I definitely see myself somewhat adjacent to being an archivist, but not on like sort of like in an academic way. Just more in a way of like, I just want to document things as they exist. So, example, the Somerset House show was just like a complete documentation time capsule of what it means to be like black in the UK in, I guess we started shooting in 23, 24, but outside of London, you know? Just to be like, what does life look like?
Yeah, because the light isn't shone on that as much.
100%.
It's easy to say that.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess it's eventually the whole thing is that it was commissioned by BBC iPlayer, so eventually it's going to go on the iPlayer.
Okay.
So, but I think, it's going to be an archive. It's not comprehensive. It's only what we could film and people who allowed us to be involved. But I mean, so I guess in some way, I hope I'm contributing to like archive and like legacy and all that stuff. But I think ultimately time will tell. But I'm just very obsessed with our generation. Do you know what I mean? Like some people are maybe obsessed with like an older generation, but I just think for all faults and warts and all, I just think to be living right now is a real privilege considering what's going on in the world. So actually, I think we should take pride in the fact that our generation is there's been a lot of like milestones that our generations had to live through, you know, like dial-up internet to proper internet to like, you know, shooting
we've
on
literally been from in terms of technology,
100%,
nothing to everything.
Yeah,
to the only generation to see that. Really.
Exactly, from landlines to mobile phones to like, you know, from shooting stuff like this, we'd only be able to shoot in a studio to shooting on like little cameras.
Yeah, exactly.
To now being able to do this in the back of someone's house. Do you know what I mean? It's just like all those things in the last 15.
Yeah.
This setup, I would probably say in the last like 10 years to be able to do this.
Or maybe even 5.
Yeah. No. Last live streaming 15 years, because when I was with Tim and Barry, it was Ustream, like prior to it being like
Ustream.
on YouTube.
Wow, that
do you know
takes
what I mean?
About Funhouse, Tim and Barry,
100%. Do you know what I mean? So I think our generation, in terms of technology, we've just really like taken the baton and just like not even gone for a jog. We've gone for like a full-on steroided sprint type of thing.
Totally.
Which
do you think we're headed in the right direction? Sprinting.
It depends on who you speak to be honest.
Yeah, but I'm asking you.
Do you know what? I don't know. I think it's very easy to be
For the listeners, he's crossed his arms. I think it's important to know
I think it's quite easy to be a bit of like a Debbie Downer on things.
Yeah.
But I'm quite an optimistic person.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that gives me a lot of reassurance, right, is that anything that can benefit the world to moving in a direction that like we need to go in has already been invented. It's just the reality is like, how do you get those things out into the world? Maybe it's not very like economically viable or whatever. Like all those things already exist. But
everything we need already exists.
100%. Do you know what I mean? Like if you want to clean your oceans, like there's like infrastructure.
And it doesn't
technology.
include AI.
Yeah, there's electric cars. Okay, maybe we need to figure out the mining situation. But whatever, you know, like all those things exist.
Yeah.
You know, the systems exist in different parts of the world, whether like healthcare, free healthcare, like all those things exist. It's just like whether we want to put that stuff in. And I would like to think maybe, if not our generation, then maybe the next will carry the baton and do something. But I would definitely say that there's people within our generation who maybe don't get to come on podcasts and stuff, but they're the ones like doing that research and creating that stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so technology in mind, I guess.
Yeah.
If you could, and you've mentioned that you'd like to focus on your generation, right?
Yeah.
If you could pick a time to be of that generation and make a film in that time, technology and media included, when would it be?
So I'd have to be using the technology of the time?
Well, I think so.
Okay.
You know, because it plays a massive part in look and feel, as you know. Film, I'm talking about film. And
yeah, I mean, if I wasn't like just coming into my teenage years.
Because it's all limitations, right?
Yeah, I would probably say the 90s.
Okay.
I'd say the 90s. Think the 90s, you know.
Not too far removed.
Not too far removed, but like Steven Spielberg's my favorite director growing up. Do you know what I mean? I think films in the 90s were just like the blockbuster things that made, not to say that in the 80s and 70s they weren't making
but
huge
models were being massively aggressively broken in the 90s.
Yeah, the Terminator, you know, like Jurassic Park.
87 Terminator.
Well, Terminator 2 is really the real one, right?
True.
No one remembers the OG Terminator. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think the 90s, like, it was just great for so many things, whether it was like Disney cartoons or whether it was like huge blockbuster movies. Or I mean, I think The Lion King was made in the 90s. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely it was.
How'd you get around that as a group of songs and or a story? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, for sure.
So I'd probably say the 90s. But also politically, like, what's going on, what was happening in South Africa with apartheid.
I was going to ask,
Mandela.
Is there a subject that that jumps to mind that you would instantly you think you'd latch onto in the 90s?
Yeah, loads. I mean, so my feature film is set in 93.
Okay, there you go.
Because like politically, the 90s, just so much was going on. So much. That's why when people are always like, oh, the world, and the world seems like a much more horrible place because everything's a lot more televised. But that's not to say in the 90s, like really horrible things weren't.
Of course not. We just didn't see or hear it as much.
100%, you know? Like I think I just think it was quite a tumultuous time, but it was like at the advent of so many things like collided. 2K, why 2K? They were like, planes are going to fall out of the sky.
I can't believe that was even a thing.
Clocks are not going to work anymore, and the computers are just going to shut down.
People held their breath at 12 o'clock.
Do you know what I mean? Like imagine the sentiment coming up to 1999's New Year's Eve. Do you know what I mean? Just like people being like, oh,
what's going to happen? We're going to lose our money.
Like, exactly.
All our digital money is going to vanish.
Yeah, I think it was a fascinating time. Really.
Yeah.
Princess Diana, like the whole, do you know what I mean? Just like all of that. David Beckham getting sent off. I just want to big up
Princess Diana for her wardrobe, because her wardrobe was always on point.
It was always on point. I got into football in 96, quite late to the party, but Nigeria went to the World Cup for the first time in 94.
Wow.
Yeah, man. It was like Nigeria won the Olympics in 96.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The 90s was like, it was all the rage. Yeah, like, yeah. I the next one I was going to say was going to be a bit left, but yeah, a lot. Just being a teenage boy in the 90s, do you know what I mean? Like your body, like...
Yes. Oh, you mean like access to women as objects in the 90s? Is that what you're referring to?
No, I just mean like my body being like, oh, like you can make children now. With this, do you know what I mean? Being like, oh shit, like everything's changing, you know? Like that was the 90s. Like it was a bit of a wild time, you know?
Lad mags.
Yeah, Lad mags, FHM, Loaded, like all them things basically.
Yeah. There's lots of
Man, even though I don't support them, Man United in 98 winning the treble. Like,
well, they've just absolutely dominated, didn't they, man?
100%. Yeah. For sure.
Okay.
90s.
Back to process, I guess, because I know there's going to be lots of people listening that want to hear about
my process.
About your process.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. And me too.
Yeah.
Can you talk us through it? Like what kind of usually sparks a project for you? And how does it kind of start to present itself? Is it written word? Is it sketches? Is it photos? You know, like where's it start to manifest for you?
So like coming back to the whole like non-drinking thing, it used to be very different. My process used to be like
let's do before and after.
Yeah, so I was really lucky. I had like a really wonderful girlfriend in 2018, and she really influenced my process. Because that became, a lot of my process was based on pictures. Like, she was very like good at like storing pictures. And so then I was like, oh wow, she's got such an interesting process. I don't even have a process at that point. Mine was just helter-skelter, basically. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I really like photography. I really like these images. I really like the concept of like, how do you bring these images to life? So like 2018, 2019, even into the early 2020s, that was still my process. Like I have these banks of images. If I like listen to music or I just listen to whatever it is, just go and look through those images and just pull and be like, okay, I can maybe like chart these together or whatever, you know? And then it still exists somewhat as part of my process, but I think something about that becomes quite derivative because ultimately you're just like pulling from other people who've like pulled from other people, and maybe you don't even know the history of who they've referenced to do what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think more recently it's kind of like, I would just say my process now is really influenced by like conversation and meeting people in the real world and just trying to problem solve and like, you know, most of what I do comes with briefs, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, you know, apart from the things that I don't do that comes with brief, which is like...
Or even setting yourself a brief, right? Is that what you mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, because you have to, because otherwise it's just you're just in the ocean too much.
Completely.
You're swimming around. Like.
Yeah. So now it's just like, okay, cool. Well, how would I just try and make something entertaining for myself? Or how do I respond to this brief in a way that like, isn't really about my ego. It's just really about getting the best out of this thing in a way.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily see myself as like the most creative person, but I do definitely see myself as someone who's like...
Well, why would you say that?
Why would I say that? Because I think there's like way more like...
You're just being comparatively.
Yeah, just like comparatively. I just think there's just some people, just the way their mind works is just like, wow. I think I'm more like a pragmatist and I'm more like, okay, like...
Again, it's kind of the journalism thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I need to go from A to B.
Yeah.
I don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm just going to find a way that like gets us there, but maybe like in a sort of, in a way that problem solves.
And also breeds connection.
But isn't just aesthetic based.
Yeah, right.
Like I wouldn't say, so that's probably why I say I'm not that creative, because I don't think I'm particularly aesthetic based. I think I'm more like narrative based.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in story.
I mean, that's a real thread of the Nigerian experience from what I know.
Yeah, we're storytellers.
Yeah, exactly.
100%, you know. So I would say in that term, maybe it is the written word, but like physically I don't necessarily like write that much stuff down. I'll like write bullet points down or whatever. But I think And
storyboarding?
Yeah, that comes later on in the process. I think I just have conversation, really. I think that's the best way to sharpen things. Cool. Like whether I'm like speaking to like my business partner or whether I'm speaking to like an exec or whatever, I'm just I'll always talk about an idea in a way to sort of like get someone to challenge me on it. And I'm like, okay, this can work. And I think I even realize in my process now is like best idea wins. It's like a team thing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm pitching on something at the moment and someone who's like doing image research was like, oh, what about this? And I was like, that's a great idea. Like, let's use it basically.
So collaboration is definitely a massive important part of your
100%,
you know, work life, I guess, creative life.
Yeah, 100%.
What's the key to a kind of meaningful collaboration for you?
Just being.
You probably already touched on it, but
but I just think literally just collaboration. It's just like making people feel like their opinions are valued and they're sort of seen and heard.
Yeah.
Because I think what would happen in a lot of collaborative spaces, like people are too afraid to say something for lack of wanting to sound stupid or not having like read the email properly or know the references. And to me, like I try and say on calls and stuff, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Like,
no, of course not.
You just have to ask it because that could trigger something and we could end up going on a tangent.
Yeah.
And we end up getting there. Like ultimately, a friend of mine, Jen Nakuru, do you know her?
Yeah.
So Jen was interviewing Kamasi Washington about this video they did together.
Yeah, cool.
And then it's just back two of them talking about it. It's a brilliant video, but in the conversation, she was like, there's no hierarchy to where she gets information from. Like she tries to keep everything on so what she meant by that.
That's a really good practice.
Do you know what I mean? Maybe I'm not fully.
Capitalism won't let that be, but it's how it should be.
Yeah, but even if you take like people who I love, like Arthur Jaffer, if you watch like Love is the Message, like there's loads of videos from YouTube. Yeah. You know? And like to be like just a whole series of YouTube videos of people doing crazy stuff exists in an art space. Is that? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I just really love the idea. It's just like the human experience is so valuable across so many different tangents that like if you can pull all those things together to tell a story, then one isn't more valuable than the other, basically. So long as people feel something about it.
Actually. It's a really important take. How do you protect your creative voice? When working on commissioned or collaborative, let's stay with commissioned because that's the hardest. That can be often the hardest thing. And do you try?
I think commission is not the hardest.
No.
I think
other way around.
I think commercial is the hardest.
Yeah, right.
Because I think commercial. I'm sure people have said this before, but commercials, like, they lure you in based on what you've made before. They don't lure you in. That sounds terrible.
We love your work.
Yeah, but maybe
particularly
they do.
This one.
Yeah, maybe they do like a particular work.
No, I mean, they obviously do, right?
But people love a particular work, but they're not interested in learning the process for you to be able to execute that work.
Yeah, okay.
You know, which normally involves...
But they don't care. It's not...
They don't care.
No.
Yeah, they don't care. They just want you to do the thing. Yeah, they want you to do the thing under like a completely different set of circumstances. Yeah. And they want the same outcome.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, but the only reason why we had that outcome is because like it was truly collaborative.
This, and this. You know.
It's like if you like my work and you hire me, then you should trust me that I have your best interests at heart. I have the best interests at heart of my collaborators, and we're going to try and give you the best thing possible. Yeah.
Have you had to defend your voice, your creative voice in the past in these kind of situations?
I've tried.
Without naming names.
No, I've tried, but this is going to sound really bad, but I've tried. But I think there's only so much you can try in any given setting. Yeah. And once I realize, okay, you don't actually want me for what I can contribute to this. You just want me to manage something you want to do. Yeah. So once I realize that, and I think I've been lucky enough to be doing it long enough that I can notice that quite quickly. And I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm just here to manage it. You actually don't.
In fact, it's letting go.
Yeah.
Really.
It's like ego. It's like what I said before.
Yeah.
Once you surrender ego, it's like you don't actually want me here to be creative. You just want me here to manage something for you. At that point, I'm like, okay, you're paying me enough, so that's fine. I'll do it. Like I would
shifting your expectation.
100%. Yeah. It's like my starting point is I want to give you my 100%. Pure emotion, 100%, like pure, like everything I have to offer. I'll give you the shirt off my back if you allow me to run wild, like creatively, but and collaboratively. But if you don't want that, then I'm happy. I can manage stuff as well, basically. Yeah. So to your question, like, I think commission's a little bit better because commission tends to be a lot less money, a lot more like, oh, here's the brief, do what you want, but there's not a lot of money to do it.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm like, cool. So long as I can do what I want, I'm going to have as much fun as possible. And I can bring more people on board and just manage their expectations. But often enough, I haven't quite figured out how you do it with brands yet on a larger level.
Yeah.
So like,
that's the sweet spot.
That's the sweet spot.
You let me know when you do, please.
But I would also say on that level, and I could be wrong, is that it's a lot more aesthetic. And that's not really me. Like I'm not. If you're looking for
that makes
something,
sense. That makes complete sense anyway, just because that's what they're interested in.
100%.
Really
if you're looking for something completely aesthetic, if you want to sell this thing and you want it to like, you want me to enter the shoe and come out of the shoe and do I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm more the type of person that I'll be like, oh, this shoe can talk today. It's going to take us on a journey.
There you go.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's just knowing your strengths and weaknesses, I would say.
Yeah. With your most recent work,
which
is My Father's Shadow, that went to Cannes.
Yes.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
That was both personal and global, let's say, now in a position to say that.
Yeah.
How do you approach something so emotionally close, right?
Yeah.
That's also going to be seen by a lot of people. Like, and how's that made you kind of, you can say in hindsight, I guess now, feel about the work? And
just probably a lot of ways to answer that. But I would say prior to even making that, the journey we've been speaking about, a lot of that work is quite personal to me.
Yeah.
Whether it's like the documentary Young, Black and Gay that I never quite made, it's like people within my remit. Yeah. I'm always trying to be in service. So like a lot of work just comes from, okay, how can I approach something as honestly as possible? Like putting myself into it or putting people I know into it. So like I made a couple short films, which was effectively based on like things I'd experienced before. So when it came down to it, it was me and my brother writing a film about like, oh, we never knew our dad. So like, what would it be like if we spent a day with him, you know?
Yeah.
And then writing this like perfect character and then both being like, yeah, but we're not perfect. So why would he be perfect?
Yeah.
And how do we like lean into like the things that are probably part of our imperfection? Because
lean into the harder stuff,
because we probably share some character traits with him because
100%.
we're his kids, right?
Yeah.
The second part of that question of it being quite global is like I don't really get to control who sees it, but
exactly.
But on the one hand, like I'll stand by something if I feel like I've done as honest a job within the remit of like the thing I'm making, right? So if I've tried to do as honest a job as possible, I don't mind however many people see it, whether it's like...
And it's not being made with a view to it being seen by a lot of people in the first place. That's just something that happens.
100%. If I was like, if someone said to me, let's make a film that's going to like win an award in Cannes,
you'd be like, fuck. Exactly. Shit.
Yeah, like I'd be like, I don't know how to do that. Yeah. But like, if you ask me to make a film about a subject matter which is dealing with my identity, dealing with my community, dealing with the country, Nigeria, dealing with me growing up in the 90s, all things we've already touched on about, in an honest way with someone who I idolize and I'm really close with because we're like kind of best friends, I could do that for sure.
Yeah.
And whatever comes of the work is whatever comes of the work. I think I'm just quite grateful that like, however long my journey has been, it's always like exposing me to people who are really, like it's exposed me to a lot of people who I wouldn't say don't have my best interests at heart, but like they have their best interests at heart. But I've also met loads of people who like have my best interests at heart and want to create the best thing within that together, as opposed to the other thing who want to create the best thing for themselves.
Yeah.
So like I've met loads of those, but I've met a few of these, and it's like when you find those people, you need to try and stay as close to them as possible.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, like, yeah, it's a special thing, but ultimately, like, they just become quite central to your life. So it's like, how do you? I was speaking to because I mentor a few like young directors.
Cool.
They're my friends, but I would probably say I'm also a bit of their mentor. But I was just saying to them, like, you got to become. One of them is on a job that's quite it's quite difficult at the moment, and I was like, well, there's all these reasons why this job isn't working, but I would say, and I said to them, I was like, you're not going to like what I'm going to say, but what I would say is like, you need to become a lot more what's the word now? You need to
robust.
No, you just need to learn how to vet people a lot better.
Oh yeah, okay.
You need to become a lot of just much better and have a lot better instincts of who you allow in your camp and who you bring onto a job. Like if you're gonna just like bring people based on their reputation or the work.
Also, this is just life lessons.
Yeah, 100%.
Girlfriends, friends, whatever.
100%. You just need to be just a lot more understanding of like the people you bring around, the people you care about, or the sort of work you do. Because you know, someone said to me,
and it's safe. Sorry to interrupt, but it's safe to say that in the importance of knowing yourself first,
100%,
in order to do that part right.
100%
is like the groundwork.
Yeah. Someone said to me this year, and I've said it to a few people who can attest to it, is that if you put yourself in a stressful situation, you are going to affect your nervous system because you become consistently on edge. And the longer you expose yourself to that, the more your nervous system is going to be like...
The more damage you're doing.
The more damage you're doing. I mean, you can always come back from it if you're self-aware and you work through it. But like, that's kind of like the similar thing, not being as discerning. That's the word I was looking for. If you're not as discerning, or you're not even thinking of being discerning, and you're just like bringing people just left, right, and center, like into it, that haven't been vetted by people you know, like whatever, like you are allowing not even just your nervous system, but the also nervous system of other people's to be really affected. And I've been guilty of that quite a few times as a director or a creative person, being like, oh, I just want to work with this person, their work's cool, and just seeing like, because I work a lot with friends and family to collaborate with because it's a lot more high stakes, but just seeing how the people you love are responding to someone who's a wolf in like a sheep den is like... And you're like, oh, damn, I'm responsible for this. I really have to like, I'm the one who has to step up. I need to fix this. I need to find a way to sort it out. Like, and I need to do it like as amicably and like confrontational as possible. Like we still need to deliver something.
And you've been able to get through that?
Yeah. In different times. It's been tough. But once you've been through a couple of those, you become a lot more discerning, like 100%. You know, and it also just makes you really mindful of people who, whose actions are what you can go by as opposed to their words. Like, there's a lot of people, thankfully, in my life we might have our like difficulties and we might argue and stuff like that, but their actions always showed to me that they're willing to like try and just help out in a way or whatever. Whereas like some people will like give it all that and then they never do anything.
Accountability is a big one.
100%.
If someone can't show any signs of it, it's from me. It's like it's a no thanks.
100%.
Like,
for sure.
Do you feel a responsibility to speak to culture through your work, or is that pressure sometimes unfair?
Do I feel a responsibility? I'm not going to cross my arms again.
You can do what you want.
I don't really feel a responsibility. I mean, okay. Yes and no. Sometimes I feel a responsibility and sometimes I don't, I think.
Does it come in hindsight again?
Yeah, I think like expectation doesn't feel like a responsibility. Like, because I'm just like, there's so many factors as to what would make something like successful or, you know, so many factors, you know, whether you have resources, whether you like, just things out of your control, you know. But I think where maybe, I'm trying to think of like where my responsibility lies. I think the only aspect of where my responsibility lies is just to give like a very honest perception or portrayal of like my journey. Like,
yes.
I'm not from a working class background, for example. I'm definitely from a middle class background, and I don't ever want to feel like I'm someone who's like usurping that space.
It's really important.
Do you know what I mean?
That's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm also like just clear of who I am in my body and my privilege, and how like some things benefit me a lot more than they benefit other people. Do you know what I mean? But so I would say, I think my responsibility to be self-aware in those moments is probably the responsibility I hold.
Yeah.
Not to ever just like assume because my experience is like this kind of singular thing that like that's everybody's experience. Do you know what I mean? That's why when I spoke about the documentary I did at Somerset House and iPlayer, it's like, it's not, I'll always say it's not comprehensive. Like it's not, I'm not the final word on anything.
It can't be, yeah.
It's equally like what we were just talking about with you, like this interview, in as much as it is like an hour, but we could speak all day and still not get to everything.
Exactly.
So it's not comprehensive, but it's what falls into your level of interests.
I guess so. Yeah. And also what I think hopefully people are interested in. Yeah. Cool. That's a good answer. That makes a lot of sense. How do you navigate storytelling rooted in truth in an industry that often wants to kind of shape or market it in specific ways? Do you know what I mean? How kind of we touched on, I guess that falls under the kind of commission and or the commercial part of it a bit.
I think maybe the way I would quantify it to myself is that like truth sometimes doesn't have this kind of gloss of being like sexy or being exciting or whatever. Truth is messy. Like truth
is raw.
Yeah,
truth hurts.
Yeah, truth hurts, but it's also just really messy. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, this is such a terrible example I'm about to use, but I love analogies. I'm such an analogy guy.
Yeah, me too.
But like, okay, I was watching a film yesterday.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite films called Love and Basketball.
Oh, yes.
And we got to like the sex scene in the film. So whenever you watch a sex scene in a film, right, it's just perfect more often than not, right?
Yes.
Like everything happens.
Yeah.
It's not like
music,
you watch
sun comes up.
It's not like you watch Tom Cruise having a sex scene and it's like, oh shit, it's over in like 2 seconds or whatever. Like everything makes it feel like amazing and great or whatever, you know? But in this particular film, they're about to have sex and the guy like whips out a condom. And I'm like, this is the only film I've ever seen that happen. Because ultimately, like, it's a bit messy. Like, that's kind of what it is. Like, life is messy. I don't know why we took you on this long analogy tangent. But ultimately, I think the difference between truth and an industry that just wants to present sort of everything being like perfect and manicured is just that. It's just like an acceptance that like, if you're going to like, I hate using this phrase, but speak power to truth. You just have to accept that it might not be the most like easily consumed thing by everyone because of what we've been trained to like want to consume or whatever. But it will resonate with some people, not everyone, but people who are equally like invested in truth will like lean towards that, and that should be enough. You know, if you make something that touches 10 people. That's important because those are 10 people whose lives you potentially change rather than 10,000 people who are just like consuming this thing and forgetting about it.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? For sure.
No, I agree. 10 people fully touched rather than 10,000, like, just glossed over.
Yeah, but you also have to be comfortable with that because, do you know what I mean? Like, if I give you an example, another example is like, if you release this, right? And let's say like,
same goes for music.
But it's like the long-term goal, like you said at the beginning, everything is a long-term strategy because like, for example, if you did a DJ set and you put it online and 100 people listen to it, you're like, damn, man, like these person's boiler rooms are getting like 50,000 people and you're like, you start comparing yourself. One person might put a comment and just be like, that was my favorite set ever. Do you know what I mean? And that can encourage them to start DJing or something. And really, you kind of have to get comfortable with that.
You really do.
Yeah, because like at the point when you're doing 50,000, you might just be getting trolled the whole time about how you mixed or...
There'll be 10,000 trolls and 40,000 people that love it.
Yeah.
And if you 10,000 is a big number.
Yeah.
But don't forget the 40,000.
Yeah. You just have to get,
you
just have to get really comfortable with...
Also, you got to get comfortable not knowing.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people won't say good things even if they think them. But there's lots of people that will say the bad thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like they feel that, I don't know what it is.
Completely.
In society, but
fundamentally, it's for those people who like came and watched your thing.
Yeah, and stood at the front. And
still 300 people. I can't remember who said this, but remember like the early days of Instagram where you would get like 1 like or like 4 likes and you'd be so gassed or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you'd even get like 300 likes versus someone who would get 5,000.
But I remember checking Instagram for likes.
Yeah, but someone quantified it. It's just imagine like 300 people came and spotted you and you're just like, yo, like I like your set. Like in real life, that's 300 people. That's a lot of people to spot through in a day. As opposed to like 50,000 people who are just like, you're not going to be able to get through that basically. That's like more of a genuine thing, I would say. But you have to be comfortable with that. So back to your question, I would just say like ultimately truth versus like an industry that maybe isn't necessarily like super, super invested in truth. And I'm obviously generalizing, but I think it's just being comfortable with the fact that one's quite messy and not as straightforward and like doesn't have all the answers to all the problems. And another one's a lot more manicured and makes it feel like in some instances, like you can't meet the standard or you're not doing as good as you could be. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's those things basically. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Future projects. And direction. We talked about mediums. Have we talked about mediums? Not really that much. But is there a medium or format that you kind of haven't explored yet that you feel a calling to, that you'd like to explore?
Yes and no.
I mean, you could talk about professionally, or you could talk about just for fun as an artist. You know.
Yeah, I think like I think it's very unrewarded, but I just think like documentaries.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying anything new, but I think documentary is such a generous way of experiencing life, like going to go and tell someone else's story and sharing a portion.
And again, a privilege, right?
Yeah, it's such a privilege.
Yeah.
That's another responsibility. It's just
massively.
Like someone's entrusting you to tell their story.
Way more so than you're telling your own story.
Yeah, and you also have to hold them accountable and yourselves accountable to not just making it some like cookie cutter thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's like faults and all that stuff, and how do you skillfully do that?
It's a way more of a balancing act.
100%. I'm struggling with a part of the BBC. I probably shouldn't say this online. Maybe let me think about it. But I'll say it anyways.
We've definitely got a good few months until this will be coming out.
Well, I'll say it anyways. I think the documentary, there's iPlayer. We had everyone's blessing at the time.
Yeah.
To make this thing, and then we showed it at Somerset House, and then there's just this one group within it that like emotionally you can understand that they don't necessarily feel they understood what they were doing, even though at the time we definitely spoke about it. But in hindsight, they're kind of like, yeah, it's not what we thought it was. We thought it was going to be like we didn't think it was going to be as artistic. We thought it was going to be more literal.
Matter of fact, yeah.
And for that reason, they're just kind of not interested in being involved anymore, and you're kind of like, damn, like we spent money, we've done but at the end of the day, like
painful though.
It's painful, but I also have to accept it because that is the trust you're trying to navigate with people. Because a part of me was like, yeah, but what if we just run it? Like, what are they gonna do? But because those questions,
what does happen in that scenario? Yeah,
but I think it's exploitative in that scenario, because if someone who you filmed is now like, no, I don't want to. It's like me in this podcast. If like I called you,
the subject is saying no, or the people that were producing it said
no. So the subject is saying no.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
then you can't run it.
Yeah, you can't run it.
Just out of order.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because I thought about it. I was like, what?
Okay.
I asked my producer. I was like, could we?
It's okay. Yeah.
I'm like, technically we could run it.
Of course, yeah.
But he's like,
but you'd really
technically you could do anything, but like, would you want to?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, probably not.
Is there not a law? There's no laws.
No, I mean,
I don't want to give anyone ideas, by the way.
It's two things.
Don't do it.
Yeah, it's two things. It's just like, we definitely have documentation to say you were in agreement with this thing. But like,
punitive though.
Spiritually, like orally, morally, like the moment you're unsure of this thing, like then we kind of have to respect your wishes of being like, it's a shame because like I think as a body of work is quite important.
And obviously, ultimately, you want people to see it.
Yeah, and I think we've tried to honor what it is you allowed us to film, but at the same time, like, I get it.
Yeah.
Everybody has the right to say no. It's consent, ultimately. And if you don't you can change your point of consent at any point. And the moment where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, it's fine.
Yeah,
like,
I can relate, actually.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen very often in music, but I made a tune with a writer and vocalist, recorded, done, got signed.
Mm-hmm.
The label were like, we don't want to credit the singer in the title of the song, but all the points will still be the same on the music, you know, all that stuff. But and rightfully so, completely in her within her own rights, she was like, I don't want it to come out. And then, but I was left like, I really want this to be heard. It's a great tune. It could be big.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of potential of something.
Yeah.
And then just had to just be comfortable with it never coming out.
Yeah.
So I can relate. I can relate.
For sure.
Yeah.
Was that the question? What was the question?
Mediums and formats.
Oh, I want to explore. Yeah. Do you know what? There's something about theatre. Actually, no, 100%. I know what it is. Puppets.
Cool.
I want to make something with puppets.
Sick answer.
Like, I love Sesame Street. I love Fraggle Rock. Like,
Sesame Street is just the best ever.
Yeah,
best kids program ever.
100%. Yeah, I would love to do something with puppets.
Yeah,
for kids or for adults.
You should definitely do that.
100%.
You should definitely make it for adults.
Yeah.
Because you can do a lot more.
You can do. But Jim Henson, the guy who created all the Sesame Street, all that stuff, his first iteration on like public broadcast TV was doing these like risque, like 3 a.m. adult
image kind of vibes,
puppet things on TV.
Yeah.
Before he started doing all the like,
seen
the
that.
stuff.
What was the name of it? Do you know?
I can't remember, but if you like just Wikipedia him, it will say just like these kind of like dark comedy.
What do you think to Spitting Image?
Which one's Spitting Image again?
It's like pretty ugly, lifelike puppets. It was all very heavily political. All like MPs.
I remember those ones.
I mean, like, you know, it's pretty rough.
Yeah,
but there is no one's doing it like that in terms of no one's targeting people that actually need to be targeted in our world.
For sure.
You know, the politicians and stuff. But
yeah,
that's a good idea. I'm looking forward to see whatever capacity you do that in.
Yeah, even like, what was the one, Team America? Do you remember that?
That's
film?
great.
Puppets.
Such a good film. It's so jokes. And also, I'm a firm believer that no one can take the piss out of Americans as well as Americans can.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Actually, it links to the, like, I just want to telling your own stories, right? No one's going to be as good as you can be.
100%.
But yeah, Team America's got some just absolutely amazing scenes in it. The puking scene I remember laughing so much.
That's a good one. Yeah. Even the songs are so good.
Yeah, they're great. They really are. They still stand.
100%.
I mean, America's not changed. Do you know what I mean?
It's actually probably more in line with Team America.
Yeah, for sure. Upcoming projects. Is there anything that you can tease or hint at that you got going on?
Is there anything I can... Do you know what?
Or anything you want to manifest too? Except for puppets, obviously.
I just want to be able to continue to work with my family.
That's a beautiful thing.
Close friends. I just think it's such a... You know, like, this is going to sound all like whatever, but like, life, in regards to like what's happening in the world, like, life is so... delicate at the moment, it seems.
Yeah, it is.
So actually, when you're in a situation where like you get to, and I think to be a creative is such a blessing, because ultimately, I think maybe even though it has the struggles at times, you get to spend a little bit more time with the people you care about, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to working like a 9 to 5 in an office every day where you're just like,
do
you know what I mean? You're exhausted, you come home, your kids are in bed, blah, 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 whatever. I think being a creative and having that choice, or even just doing something that you love, so long as it enables you to spend more time with the people that you care about, is really important. And I just think for me, I want to be able to pull my whole family into the circuit of the things I do, and whether it's my nephews, whether it's my niece, whether it's my sister or whatever, you know, just doing this thing together, because like what
when all is said and done, there's nothing else but the people 100%, in our lives. Nothing 100%. Else.
Yeah. And then secondly, the other thing is like, do you know, there's, you know, like the next film or the next thing, there's all that. But I'm just really just like, you know, like you feel you're part of, you understand how music works, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I would hope so too.
But there's always room for learning more. But yes, go on.
And then I'm like, I understand how like commercials work.
Yeah.
Or I understand how like shooting content stuff. Or I understand how making a podcast works. Or doing radio works. But now I'm doing like a feature film. It's like, oh man, there's just so much that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
That actually like learning this side of it is just kind of cool.
Do it again.
And then having the real privilege of having like a successful film is like, oh, okay. Like having these calls and being like, oh, this is the lifeline of like how the film is going to go. And this is the lifeline of how it's going to be released in the cinemas in the UK and in Nigeria and in America and blah, 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 blah. And then like, it's going to go on demand. So like, there's just a whole journey ahead that I kind of knew, but I'm also just like learning about every day. And it's kind of, it's kind of cool. And I just like,
it's like walking into rooms in a house and flicking the light on, right? You couldn't see what was in there before, but 100%. Now it's like,
And also just accepting that like, it's just trying to remember to enjoy it. Cause like, in the best way, like maybe I'll have like a very consistent career, but sometimes I might not, sometimes I might miss. And that's fine too. So maybe all these people who are around might not be around the next in some iteration. But it's also just getting comfortable with just like, okay, what's the thing that got you here? It's like, okay, truth and scrutinizing the work and being accountable. Okay, cool. Let's protect that. Let's keep that centerfold to like
I think that's
what
a
we're
really
doing.
good way of looking at it all.
100%.
A healthy way of looking at it all.
Yeah, appreciate that.
With the Sound of Music thing that you touched on when you were a teenager, making tunes, do you think you might ever...
Did I say Sound of Music? You know that's my favorite film.
No.
Of all time, The Sound of Music.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I said sound and music.
Oh, you said sound and music. Okay. No,
is that one of your favorite films? You really did.
It really is my favorite film.
Yeah, but you wanted to tell me.
No, but you just said it, and I was
but
like,
you heard what you wanted to hear.
Yeah, I did hear what I want to hear. But it is my favorite film of all time.
Wow, what do you like about it?
Everything. It's got.
I've not seen it.
You've not seen it? Oh, you have to see it. Yeah. I grew up on musicals as well.
Okay.
Like Sound of Music, Annie, The King and I, like Oliver Twist, like all just.
I hate musicals.
Oh, bro, you're missing out, man. Those four are like they're like the Mount Everest of musicals.
Okay,
right?
all right.
So you should give them a try.
Tell you what, I will do Sound of Music for you.
Especially with your kid.
Especially with Arlo, I will.
Do you know what I mean?
I will. Okay.
Right?
I promise.
Okay, Sound of Music. Kids are at the center.
Can I just stick with that one?
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
It's just that one. But see, you might want to. But you like Lion King. That's a musical, so you don't.
Who
hate
said
musicals.
I like Lion King?
Okay, maybe you don't like Lion King. Okay.
I'm joking. The story is good.
Yeah,
I like the story.
Yeah, the songs are fun too.
Yeah.
But as a musician, you're like, anyway, I'm not going to judge, but centered around family. It's a love story. It's conflict with religion.
Okay.
So far, just all my favorite things.
Yeah.
Politics.
Okay.
Like, it's quite subversive politically.
What, Sound of Music?
Yeah. Wow. Super subversive. Yeah. Like when it's set.
Who knew?
Yeah, man. It's got banging tunes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, man.
That's an
just
opinion.
Those five things. Yeah. Those are all things that like speak to me. Yeah.
No, that's nice to. It's nice to have that little window into something you're into like that.
100%. Maybe I should make a musical someday. Maybe that's another
puppet musical.
A puppet musical, yeah.
About
maybe.
Politics. No, I'm joking.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Could do that.
That sounds like a plan. All right. Well, I guess that answers that question. It was going to be, do you see yourself returning to music and like incorporating it with your work, like scoring, producing, curating?
Yeah. I mean, I think I've said this in quite a few interviews that like music really crystallizes emotion.
Yeah.
But even just more than music, I think sound design. I think 100%. Sound design is so underrated.
Where would we be without it, man? Like, honestly.
But I think sound design is like really like, it's just a thing that goes really unnoticed. And actually sound design is probably is the thing I geek out about the most on films, because I think
that makes me happy. I'm glad you do.
Yeah, because it really enables you to just like manipulate people in like a really non-intrusive way. Like we're just trying to manipulate like a visceral feeling.
And people take it, well, they don't take it for granted, but they just are so unaware.
They take it for granted.
Yeah, take it for granted.
I think en masse people take it for granted. Yeah. But the real, like, if you know, like, type of thing.
It's like, watch that again and take this away. And now, and they're like, oh yeah, it's just not the same impact whatsoever.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
But like curating music, yeah, 100%, man. I would really love to.
Like visual albums, maybe?
Yeah, visual albums, still music videos to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But I think the live element, I
guess the artist would have to be the right fit because you're really going in together in a creative sense.
Yeah.
Like that.
I think the one thing I really appreciate about music is the live aspect, because it's face to face. And I think film has a bit of a way to go, because actually the whole experience of going to watch a film is quite passive. You're sat in, well, not super passive, but you're sat in the audience and you're watching. But it's like, there's a bridge there which has been already created. So how do you continue to nurture that bridge? So like what we did at Somerset House is was effectively like us making a documentary with an audience, with a live score, but also being somewhat disruptive in the space. So like bringing almost like 4D elements of like people walking through the audience, or people like blah blah blah. It's kind of
where were the decisions made for performers and music choices for the Somerset show?
Right at the beginning.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because we were like, okay, Somerset House, it has this big historical significance. Like, I don't want to shy away from it, but also it's like, how can I be disruptive in the space?
Yeah.
Because like, you think of the army or whatever, the Navy that used to use that space, or whether it used to create boats. It's like, okay, cool. Well, I'm not going to be able to do certain things because there's a lot of limitations, but how can I really like just like rock the apple cart in a way that also works, but makes people like engage with this in a slightly different way, basically, you know?
Yeah.
And then, that was at the beginning, but it was also quite impulsive. On the day of the show, we were like, oh, let's try things, because we didn't have a lot of rehearsal time. So we were just spoke to some collaborators. I was like, do you want to do this? Do you want to speak in this building? Do you want to do this in the audience? Do you guys want to walk through the audience? And everyone's like, can we? And I was like, yeah, man, like I'm the boss. You can do whatever you want.
Nice.
Somerset House are cool with it. They're really into space being disruptive. So it's kind of like working with people, collaborating with people to find what is the sweet point of being as disruptive as possible, knowing that like, we're not reinventing the wheel, but we just want to give people more of a unique experience than they're probably accustomed to.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sweet. I can't remember the initial question of that one.
It was great, whatever it was. Yeah, it's 10 out of 10.
That's the... All right. So just to kind of close up.
Yeah.
With some fun, hopefully some fun, easy ones.
Okay.
If you had to pick a song that reflects the chapter you're in right now, what would it be and
man,
why?
You said it was an easy one. It's not an easy one.
No, it's not. But
I've had to pick a song.
Let's just go with the easiest answer to something that pops into your head.
Oh my God. Oh man, it's going to sound so like deep, but
Perfect.
as soon as we mentioned Michael Jackson, I'd probably say They Don't Care About Us.
Ooh, yes.
Because I feel like that song.
People forget about his
back catalogue.
Well, his social commentary songs.
100%.
Like they get forgotten about.
100%.
And it's just like, oh, he's just trying to be deep. But he really cared.
Yeah.
Man. Like
100%.
And he showed that through his music.
For sure.
Yeah. So why that song?
Why that song?
For you currently right now.
I just think like if you listen to that song, like I guess he's just saying like,
I mean, all he's trying to say is that
no, but
they don't really care about Arnold Jenkins.
Yeah, but I just think like politically, whose interests are politicians taken care of? Like, it's not the people. It's kind of like
it's quite clear.
They're private things. So they don't care about us. They make you think they care about us, but they don't actually care about us.
No, they keep you busy with dividing, with divisive stuff.
Whereas, like I said right at the start, like everything we need to become more progressive species or people already exists.
Yeah.
So like, why aren't we doing? It's crazy. I was just in Japan. It's like I was just saying, like, you go to Japan and it's just like, recycling is just such a thing. Like it's such a clean place, and I'm like, okay, here recycling is a thing, but we haven't really like.
No, it's surface.
Yeah,
it's just like it's pretend.
Yeah, and also it's just like there's just so many things, and I'm not trying to say Japan's better than the UK or whatever, but there's just like so many things in different parts of the world, whether it's like, prisons in like Norway or whatever, where it's more focused on like rehabilitation as opposed to like punitive punishment or whatever. It's just kind of like, well, why don't we do that? Like, why are we spending money to like lock? We can get into like a really deep one, but I would just say that song, it's like if you really yeah, if you just deep that song, it's really just about, the fact that we are just being puppeted.
Yeah.
So I should make a thing about puppets.
I think you really should. A political thing about puppets. It's really starting to bubble up.
Yeah.
Are there any projects that you have completed throughout your career that you are most proud of?
Yes, there's quite a few projects.
Would you like to?
I can't take myself seriously. There's a few seminal ones, I would probably say.
Yeah.
I used to do, similar to this, I used to do a talk show.
Oh, cool.
On NTS called I Know Nothing.
Oh, yes.
And then it evolved into Talking Men's Club. So I Know Nothing was really about talking about taboo subjects within our friendship group.
Yeah.
Like people going to prison, masculinity, femininity, like just a whole range of things. And then Talking Men's Club was like asking a lot of my female friends to write like 50 talking points and then just getting men to talk about them.
Nice.
At really random.
I'd like to hear that.
Unfortunately,
is that still available?
Yeah, I think it's on the catalogue of NTS, cool. But I did like 3 episodes of Talking Men's Club and then NTS cancelled my show, so go figure. So yeah, there was that, and then I made a music video for an artist called Klein.
Oh yeah.
Which really like pretty much like changed my career because then people realized, like I was actually good at what I did. I did a film called This Hair of Mine with an artist called Cynthia Harvey. Again, PC was involved in that as
PC.
Well. What else is quite seminal? I made a video of Blood Orange called Charcoal Baby, which was a really great moment. I made a music video for Nena Cherry in Beirut, which is, again, really important. UK Red Light was actually one of my biggest earlier supporters because he and his team enabled me to make a bunch of music videos for him. And through the last video I ended up making for him, I really knew what sort of stories I wanted to tell. What else is there? On a more like commercial level, I did like a Christmas film for Gucci a few years ago, which was like really scary prospect, but actually like worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it's a big job.
Yeah, for sure. And then, just some sort of different. I made a short film which won Sundance in 2021 called Lizard. My feature now, which like won an award in Cannes, is pretty special. And then I made like a short film about Fela Kuti with NTS and Carhartt and Days, blah, 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 which was like the first film I ever won like a fashion or whatever award on, basically. Yeah. Beyond that, like I would probably say some other things that I'm really proud of, like being a mentor at Mentoring Matters, because they're sort of like a group that champion mentors for people from different backgrounds.
And again, going back to responsibility as well, like,
100%,
is a big one
for sure. I was part of a collective called PDA that I was really proud of at the time. We used to throw the best parties in London. Like Tim and Barry, I used to work with, so I was part of Just Jam. I was part of like Don't Watch That TV, their website. I think, I'm sure there's more. But,
I'm sure, but that sounds like
I think that's
extensive.
That's pretty good one. Yeah.
No, cool.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of move on to closing traditions.
Yeah.
I've already asked you about the song, Michael Jackson.
Yes, they don't care about us.
And finally, you've brought water in today.
I have.
We're going to raise our glass to someone or something in life or in work or in the world. Yeah. What can we cheers to now that matters to you?
Ooh, real easy ones, Alex. Cheers. It's just a real simple one, actually. Mm-hmm. We can cheers to just like people finding what their version of happiness is. Yeah. Because I would probably say like that, maybe sounds a bit airy-fairy, but to everyone it's really different. And I just think once you kind of find that and you're comfortable with it, because it might not be what you thought it was, It might just be like, for me, it's just like the simple things. I just want to be able to live and move through life in a capacity that allows me to a certain level of freedom. You know, that's not me saying I want to be rich or I want to be like hyper successful. I just want to be able to do stuff like this on during the week, or like go traveling whenever I want, or like, do you know what I mean? And that to me is like happiness, because I get to just like
freedom of choice. Yeah,
I just think to have this experience called life is such a blessing, you know. And I actually just like, there's a lot that will tell you that, maybe like you're not good enough, or you haven't quite figured it out, or X, Y, and Z. And I just think all that is just external voices, but really similar to what I said about the world having already figured out things that help us be progressive. My therapist said to me, she's not here to teach me anything. She's just here to remind me of who I am.
Indeed.
And actually, like, the person I am and the person I found that I'm comfortable with, I'm quite happy with, basically. So cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Cheers, man.
Thank you for coming on, Akinola.
Oh, no worries, man.